Alright guys, so I was going to make a PowerPoint about this, but that's going to take too goddamn long, and a video I can explain everything a lot better. Plus I'm not carrying all this shit around with me all the time. So we're going to be talking about taking care of your feet when you're ruck marching, because it's something that I see a lot of guys just mess up horribly on, or they half-ass it. So first and foremost, boots. Best boot that I've used probably about 5 or 6 different pairs. One of my favorites they don't make anymore. That's the problem with boots. A lot of boot companies, they'll come and go. Belleville made the boot, but they don't make the boot anymore, and the replacement for it is god awful. So I'm not going to recommend that boot because you can't get it. So what I am going to recommend is the boot I have now, which I absolutely love. So Garmont is probably the best name in boot. They have a pretty decent grip on them, and they have a very good roomy toe box, and the heel slippage is pretty good, especially if you get insoles. As far as the lacing goes, these lockers, you have to, you can see these guys have a little ball in them, so they're pretty good about locking your foot. And if you'll see these little tapered ridges right there, they'll lock your foot into the boot, and they don't move around as much. That is the showcase of a good rucking boot. If it doesn't have any kind of locking lace or locking little guy right here, don't get them. They're not worth rucking in because they're not going to lock your foot into the boot, or you're going to have to do some kind of like surgeon's knot lacing style, which takes 100 years to put on, and you don't have that kind of time as an infantryman. So that's my recommendation, is these right here. I also have another pair. I use them in mostly garrison, mostly because the toe box is a little too wide, and my front foot likes to move in him. The other problem is, although it does have a locking lace, similar if you'll see that little strip right there, just like the other one, the locking lace tends to dig, because if you'll notice, instead of being an outward lace where it pulls in, the inner lace, this little guy, so when it goes through and loops in, that digs into your foot. So in order to really lock it down, you have to get really uncomfortable, and I don't think it's a good boot. This is made by Merrill. Normally they make really good boots. It's a good garrison boot, but it's not a good rucking boot. And that's the big difference. Just because you like it when you're walking around and not doing anything doesn't mean it's a good rucking boot. I would stick to Garmont. Nike makes some. Oakley makes a pair that's pretty decent, and I think it's Nike, Oakley, and Reebok are the only 3 others that make a pretty decent boot. Try them on. Don't buy them online. Never buy a boot online unless you already know the size and shape and everything that you wear in that specific boot. Never buy them online. Go to Offutt Air Force Base or any other base that you're near. Even if you got to drive to Kansas, I promise you it's worth it, because the boot that fits me doesn't mean it fits you. Next thing, boot companies make boots. Insole companies make insoles. So let's talk about insoles. So Garmont does a pretty good job. These aren't that bad. They are a pretty generic, basic insole. That's that kind of like one material plus that top material. The only problem I have is there is no arch support. So if you have a little bit of a flatter foot like I do, you're going to have some issues. So one of the things that you do when you put a lot of weight on your body, it's not something your bodies normally are designed to do, is you're going to wear on this side right here. So you're going to put all the weight right here. Now that's going to cause your heel and your boots to slide out of the boot. It's going to cause them to shift out like that. And then on the back of your heels, you're going to get a blister right here, or right on the edge, you're going to get blisters. You're also going to get blisters up here, right where your pad of your foot meets right here. You're going to get blisters because you're going to constantly be digging that in. If you get something like, don't get expensive orthotics, don't get anything crazy. Get something like Dr. Scholl's, like the Walmart ones. This one was like $12 at Walmart. It wasn't expensive. It does the same as one of the most expensive ones. That's actually been kind of a debunked myth, is that like all these really like $50, $60 insoles are so much better, and they're better, but not enough to make them worth the cost. So if you see, these have kind of like a plastic. They have this little gel heel cup, and they have a lot more arch support, so you can see with my hand, like it moves across it, and it has this little bit of a sponginess to it. So that's going to help put more weight on the overall foot. Disclaimer: if you're used to using these and you go to using these, your foot will actually hurt when you first do it. It'll hurt, and it won't feel any good. You also see the holes? Those are nice. They have a little bit of a breathability to them, and they also trap some of that. If you put a bunch of foot powder in here, the actual fluid absorbed powder will get down below these and kind of create they'll get kind of like get it out of the way. It's really nice. I actually like the ones with the holes drilled in them. I think they're a lot better. So if you get the ones with the holes, they're good. Like I said, this is the Move Pain Free from Dr. Scholl's. I like them, but the ones they come with they're doable. They're fine, but they're not. You can get better ones. That would be the best boot upgrade you can do, period. So most of the ones just do the cut to fit. Don't try to like find a size or anything, because half the time they don't fit the boot right anyway. And the cut to fit gives you, like, if you have like a specific, like the toe box is wider than a normal boot, then you can kind of get that all profiled out. Just basically follow the outline of the insole that your boot comes with, and it's super easy to get that right fit. So you can also get these. I have not fielded these. I wouldn't trust them, and I wouldn't install them on my boots, but I do them on my dress shoes. So these are heel grips. You see them on Amazon all over the place, and they have a little sticky backer. Sorry, a little sticky backer on them. And so you just peel that off, stick it in the inside of your boot. The problem is they are a very rubbery substance. So for like a dress sock, they wouldn't be bad. But for your boots, they might actually create a hot spot where there wasn't one before. So I would stay away from these. However, if you have them for your dress shoes, they actually are kind of nice. Just because that dress shoe has that like really hard edge to the back of it. But I wouldn't do this for your boots. If you see these, someone recommends them to you, I would steer clear of them. So as far as heel slippage goes, we have a couple of options here. So you can see this tape right here, larger roll. It's very difficult to see. My camera isn't an awesome camera, so I apologize. And I know the lighting is way too bright in the back, but it feels kind of like a burlap or a really rough and coarse material. You want to stay away from that. This tape is pretty good for some things, but as far as like taping for long ruck marches, it's not. That's not what you want. So if you see this kind of tape where it's like, oh, it's a sports tape or whatever, and yeah, you can use it as sports tape for a certain point, but usually has a low tack to it, so it can be taken off after you're done with it. It doesn't have a high tack, or it doesn't stay super long, and even if it's designed to stay that way, I mean, this will hold pretty well, but the problem is, that is rough, and if that's rough, then it's going to catch something. And you can tell like the difference here. If I run my finger across one or the other, I can see how that makes like a this one is smoother. Now this is this tape. And when you use tape, I use it on an index card to kind of overshow the profile, but you want to round off the edges. You don't want to have any hard edges. Round edges are not as likely to catch and pull with your sock. So you'll basically wrap that around your heel, and that works better than this does. And so you'll basically wrap it around your heel like so, and then you'll have another tape that goes below the heel and then lifts up. The reason is the boot will ride against this and won't ride against the edge of that or that, and that'll allow you to have that. So it should look like this when you tape it. Just kind of have this like little profile like that. The tape that I do recommend using, there are only two that I'm aware of that make a tape that sticks long enough and well enough that I'd spend my money on it. So Nexum makes a super strong bond one. You can really tell which one is the right one when it has this like silk look to it, real shiny, real slick, feels like oily almost, but it's not. This tape is specifically designed to reduce friction in clothing. 3M, the actual tape that you guys get from the medic, that is the best tape. This is like, I couldn't find the 3M kind of shit. It's good. It's really good. It'll hold just as long as a 3M. Works pretty well at 3M, but it's a little thinner, if you'll notice. The 3M tape's a little closer to this thickness, and I prefer it. So at the end of the day, if you don't have any tape, you can't find any tape, your medic should have that tape. I've never seen a medic not have it. And they have no problem helping you tape your foot. So again, you want to wrap it around the back of it because this is where the heel's at. And then this is where your leg's coming up. And then you'll stick tape on the bottom of your heel, fold it up. And so it'll look like that. And that's kind of the best profile. That's going to prevent any kind of blister that you would normally have on that inside curve of your heel and towards the back. So that's gonna be your best bet for taping. And taping is probably the best way to prevent heel blisters that I've ever been aware of. Same thing with toe blisters. You can just tape up your toe a little bit. Make sure you round that off, and make sure that if you tape one toe, you tape the next couple of toes, because the taped toe can actually rub the non-toe. So if you can also at the that little knuckle of your foot, you can tape that as well. I usually just tape it just like so, and it'll prevent me rubbing your boot if you're prone to those. Taping is honestly the best way to prevent blisters. It's been used forever and ever and ever. The only thing it doesn't do is doesn't actually build calluses, which can actually harden your foot and be a lot better. I know a lot of guys are doing like, you want to harden your foot, you want to harden your foot. When you can ease into it, yes. But if you have to go straight into 4, 5, 6 mile rucks and you're having a hard time before those blisters form, go ahead and tape this thing up as soon as you get hot spots. So go on a 3 mile ruck, find where your hot spots are, pay real close attention, do a foot report. Once you do the foot report, kind of like mark all the areas that you had hot spots and tape those areas. Ruck again. See if that doesn't help. Should mitigate all of it. Let's say you do get a blister. Oh, by the way, for taping, I use these little alcohol prep pads. They're cheap, a couple bucks for a pack of like 150 or whatever. So these little pads right here, you'll take and tear it open, wipe your heel so that you get all the oils that naturally occur on your skin, and then tape it. Real good. Holds really well. Try always to tape dry skin and just leave that tape on the rest of the day. That tape should hold the rest of the day, especially with 3M stuff. That will literally hold for several days if you need it to. Don't tape a wet foot. If it's wet and it's like, got that real moist skin feel, don't tape it. It's not going to stick, and a lot of times unsticking tape will cause more blisters than anything else, and you just fucking hate your life. So now that we've done the whole taping thing, let's move over to trimming your nails. So that's a big one. I usually keep this little tiny nail clipper in my foot care kit. It's like basically a big just a Ziploc bag full of toe shit, little toe and foot stuff. And so the big thing is these toenail clippers. You're going to make sure they're not too short, because then it'll start dragging at the cuticle part of your toes. But they should be nice and rounded, which is what that little file is for. And got it. If you do that, you're not going to have like toenails trying to rip off, because I've seen guys where their whole toenail gets ripped off, and it is not fucking pretty. So keep you a set of these. They're cheap, like $1 something. I mean, most of these foot care kits you can build for 20 bucks. Like max, like 20 bucks. That's not including like shoes and insoles and stuff. That's just like the tape and the alcohol pads and stuff like that. So once you've taped your foot and you've got your toenails trimmed and everything's good to go, you've got your boot, you've got your insoles, let's talk about the next step, which is friction aiding materials. So one of the things I actually want to talk to before I talk about that is, so I have this right here. It's called Cetaphil. I'm not able to see it on the camera, but it's Cetaphil, Cetaphil. So it is a very, very good lotion to put on your feet. Your foot is covered in skin. Didn't know if you knew that. So skin, if you take care of it and moisturize it, doesn't rip off or do weird shit. This is not something you would put on before you go on a ruck. This is something after a ruck and you go home, you go to bed, you'll put this on your foot when you go to bed. That'll actually help the skin kind of get that nice moisture back into it, and it won't get dry and cracked and shitty. So, important. So there are two main options for reducing moistured skin or sweat and everything else. So I have tried both, and I can tell you one definitely works better than the other, and I like one way better than the other. So one of them, you can go to a dollar store or the Walmart, pay $2 and get you a tube of zinc oxide paste, which is basically a fancy way of saying diaper butt cream, like you put on a baby's butt. So zinc oxide has a very interesting property. So it prevents moisture from entering the skin. It kind of like it's real thick and pasty. It creates like a filmed layer that is almost like a water barrier. So upsides is it will prevent your feet from getting super moist, and it will actually help you from like getting that like I've been in the bathtub too long skin. The next thing you're going to run into with this product is it's thick and pasty, and it's annoying and messy to put on. That's the con of this stuff. So much so that I almost don't like it just because of that fact. It is very, very annoying to put on. It's very annoying to clean off your hands. Once you get it on there, it gets all over everything, all over your socks, your boots, and it's god awful fucking mess. So this right here, although is workable, and if you like this or you try it, you know it's $2, you can try it, and you like it, then by all means it does work. It's not that it doesn't work. It works very, very well. It's just the application and cleaning process of it that I just can't stand. It's just that made it a no for me personally. But it is an option. My favorite option that I've tried so far and was recommended to me was spray-on deodorant. So much like it works in your armpits, it actually fills the pores of your foot and prevents it from sweating. Sweating is the reason your foot becomes moist in the first place, other than your boots getting wet. So it is an antiperspirant. It is aluminum based, so however you feel about that. But I have used this personally, and it works. You would probably going to have to apply, actually both of these you will have to apply around mile 5 or 6 in order for them to maintain the effectiveness they had at mile 1, along with a sock change and possibly an insole change. So, but this works really good. It's super easy to apply. It's not messy at all. Right after taping, you can just spray the shit out of it, and your foot's going to smell like a douchebag. It'll probably start asking you for money, or if you have your sister's number. But it will keep you from sweating and getting your foot all gross. Next, we have foot powder. Not all foot powder is made the same. However, most of them are pretty much the same thing. So this is menthol 1%, and the foot powder. This is the talc-free maximum strength gold bond. I've used pretty much all the foot powders, and they're all pretty much the same for the most part. If you get one of the name brand ones, they're pretty all right. So this is Lotrimin. So if you have a problem with foot fungus, which if you shower all the time, moisturize your feet, take care of them, and change your socks, you shouldn't have a problem with it. But every once in a while, I know some people, including myself, have had problems with foot fungus. So you can also get this foot powder. This is by Lotrimin. There's a couple others that make it, and it's the main active ingredient is tolnaflate. Probably butchering that, but essentially it's a athlete's foot preventative and care chemical. So it will do the same as the Gold Bond powder, but it will actually help to kill any bacteria that's in your foot. So if you know you're wearing it for a long time, I honestly use this more than I do. I use this stuff like around Garrison kind of stuff, just because I like the old menthol feel to it. It's kind of nice. This stuff I use when I'm doing serious stuff, because this has got that, like, it's going to prevent me from getting, foot fungus. Because once you get foot fungus, it's a nightmare to get rid of it. Good luck, especially if you're infantry and you're still having to keep doing ruck marches and stuff. You're going to be fighting that battle forever. So the best thing to do is a very rigorous scheduled routine to keep from getting it. Prevention is the best protection. So that's foot powders. So essentially what you would do is we've now sprayed on our deodorant or put on our little, butt paste. We're then going to put our socks on, and then we're going to put this foot powder in the boot, not on the foot, in the boot. Put it in the boot. Shake the boot like a maraca. So take your powder, shake the shit out of it, get it all in there, right? And you're going to hold your boot. Shake it like a fucking maraca. All right, get it all over the place. Get it on the top, the bottoms, the insoles. Make sure that it's fully covered all the way, right? And that's going to cover you for those. All right, now let's say you took all of my advice and got a blister. Well, if you took all of my advice, you wouldn't have a blister. But let's say you do have a blister because you didn't take my advice. Well, that's okay. We'll take my advice and I'll help you get rid of them. Go to Walmart. Get you some extra thick callus removers. They don't remove calluses. That's actually a very terrible way of describing what they do. But they are this thick cushiony thing. And I actually have one of my packages open here so I can show you what they actually are. So they look like this. They're very thick. So you can see they're kind of a real thick boy. And on the inside, if you'll notice, they have this protective cushion. And what they'll do is they'll actually protect the outer layer of the foot or the blister and prevent it from getting rubbed on. So basically you would put this on and then you would tape over it. What I like to do is I like to take a little bit of Vaseline or lotion or something and put it on this sticky side because I don't want it ripping at the thing. So I'll make this side slick and then the rest of the outside sticky, and then I'll tape over it with the 3M or the Nexum tape. And you can also they have callus cushions, which are basically like without the moleskin part or the other part, and they're just a big old cushion to keep the callus from getting rubbed. You can leave it also an option. They're literally $1 or something. Get some of these. You can get 4 or 5 packs. They don't weigh anything, and they're real light. You just throw them in your bag. I keep a bunch of them because you never know when you're going to need them. If you get toe fungus, because you didn't listen to me, you didn't shower, nasty fuck. You can get Butafine hydrochloride cream antifungal. This little guy. Get you a little tube. You don't need a big ass tube. So this stuff you're going to put on your feet every single night, and you're going to put it on your toes before you put socks on. This will start curing up that fungus. It'll take a while. It'll be really gross. So just use your foot powder and do all the stuff I'm telling you to do, and you won't have this problem. But get it, this guy. In other words, you can get like the Lotrimin makes it, or Tough Actin, Tenactin. They make a little one just like this, and there's a couple of different ones, but it's designed to fight the foot cream. So we've talked about shoes, we've talked about insoles, we've talked about all of the foot care accoutrements that you can put to different things. Let's talk about socks. Socks. Not all socks are made the same. If you go to Walmart and get the Dickies socks, don't. It's pretty simple. They're junk. Made usually of cotton or cotton rayon or cotton nylon or whatever the hell combo they are, but cotton's involved. And if they're just pure synthetic, they're still crap because they have no compression. Compression's important. So let's get winter over with, just because obviously most of you guys that are watching this video are going on deployment to Africa. So. But I'm going to cover winter just because I'm not making this video for nothing. So winter, one of the favorite of the winter ones, especially these are actually my winter boots because they have such a wide toe box. You'll notice big old wide toe box, and they're big on my feet. The reason I want a boot that's big on my feet because I can wear bigger socks. So this is a dress sock. Everyone got issued some. These are not special or expensive. So if you notice this little that little inside, you're going to flip these inside out, where the seam that rubs your foot normally is on the outside. So you're going to flip these inside out if you're going to put this dress sock on, along with your taping and all your other stuff. And then you're going to put this nice merino wool sock that looks gigantic as hell. So what's going to happen is instead of your foot rubbing the sock, just rubbing the boot, which will catch on the boot and then rub on your foot. This is what we'll be rubbing against the other sock. This combo is a favorite of Mountain Warfare, and it is, I can tell you, a fantastic way to prevent any messed up feet. It also means that you have a base layer of sock for when you change these socks. You can keep these socks on and just change these socks because they'll wick away that moisture and keep it pretty well. The merino wool, no other substitute, period. If it's not made of merino wool, it's not a winter sock. Don't even buy it. Don't purchase it. It ain't worth it. I think these were about $20 a pair. I have 2 pairs. Winter, we don't really train a shit ton in, so I don't go crazy on the winter socks. Just need 2 pairs, want to change out every single time. I do have a bunch of these, but I was issued a bunch of them. So, like I said, dress sock, merino wool liner, that's a great combo. So, another sock option is a more generic one. These aren't too bad. I can't remember what the brand is. They don't say it anymore. But these are merino wool. They're not bad. They're like a crew sock. I think they're all right for garrison use, or if I'm out in the field for a short amount of time, they're not bad. I've used them quite a bit. I don't remember the brand, and I wouldn't worry about them. If they say merino wool, make sure they're 100% merino wool and not like 2% merino wool and like 100% nylon or whatever, or rayon or whatever the hell they're making socks out of, because these days. Another set of winters you can get is the more expensive one. So the best name in merino wool has got to be Darn Tough. Darn Tough are expensive. They have a lifetime warranty, but for winter boots, for winter socks, they are probably the best name in the brand. Period. Winter specifically, and I say that because I have a whole reason why I say that. These are padded, and they have the compression to them. These are a crew / mid-calf almost. These are Darn Tough, and I love these as winter socks. These are probably the best winter socks I own. I don't wear them with a liner. I just wear this sock by itself. That being said, if I'm going on a long ruck march in a mountainous terrain, cold and winter and shitty, I will not take these. These will be my garrison short to mid field exercise. Super long rucks in the wintertime will be the merino wool and dress sock line. That is the best combination on the planet. So now we've got winter out of the way, let's get to where most of us train, summertime. So summertime, there are 2 sock brands that I recommend. I will not recommend any other sock brands because I'm not being judged by how well your feet get messed up by their socks. And that's going to be Darn Tough and the field favorite, which is Fox River. So Darn Tough, that's what these are. You'll notice they're much thinner right here, and they're padded here and padded in the heel. These are a half calf, so they're pretty long up here, and they have kind of this breathable mesh up here, and then they're a little bit thicker and ribbed. They are a compression sock. Because they're a compression sock, they're going to help keep the blood flow going and kind of, keep your sock from moving on you as much, but you still have to change them out quite regularly. That being said, they're $30 a pair. That's a lot of money for 1 pair of socks. They do have a lifetime warranty, but they're $30 a pair. I can't justify that. No matter how good they work, I can't justify $30 a pair. Now, if you can, by all means, they are an absolutely masterful piece of sock. I mean, they are probably the best socks on the market, period. But at $30, I can't justify that. Nor can I recommend that to any Joe out there. Which means the winner of the summer sock maximum training shitty ruck march sock brand, Fox River. These are the over the calf, which I like, and they're the only ones. These are the fatigue fighter. They have padded here, compression here, and compression over the calf. They're $17 a pair, way cheaper than Darn Tough. And I can tell you right now, I know Darn Tough have a reputation for, like, they have a lifetime warranty and they last forever. So do Fox River. Fox River's been around longer than Darn Tough has. And Fox River, 100% lifetime warranty. And they last a long time. I'm not kidding there. So if you look at this right here, this is a brand new sock. I bought this like 2 days ago. To test out the over the calf and if I like the fatigue fighters, which I can tell you right now, I do. They are the best sock. This is the one I would get. This is the one I would get for ruck marches or anything. Is padded heel, padded toe box, $17 or $1 or $2 more than the regular Fox Rivers. If you go to a base and get them, you're going to get these. These are not bad, but they're not padded. You want the padded ones. So these aren't padded here or padded here, and they have that like little mesh here. They're the traditional Fox Rivers. If you've ever seen or worn any Fox Rivers and you bought them, you probably bought these. These are the regular ones. They're not the fatigue fighters. They're the super lightweight. They're the lightest sock that Fox River makes for combat boots. And although they're not a bad sock, I don't recommend them for long ruck marches. For the field, perfectly fine. Long ruck marches, hell no. So, in other words, I wouldn't get them at all. Get the fatigue fighter over the calves. That's what I would get. They're $17. Get you like 6 or 7 pair, maybe even like 8 to 10. By the way, you'll notice these two socks, other than being one slightly darker in color, this is brand new. This is 8 years old. 8 years old, this sock. I've worn it in the shittiest environments, including NTC, XCTC twice, Germany. I have worn these socks in the shittiest of conditions, and be God blessed out of it. And they are still holding up strong after 8 years. So that's worth $17 to me. These will probably do the same thing, but they're double the price. Not by no means am I knocking this sock. Darn Tough is a fantastic sock, and they will probably, if they give you a lifetime warranty, I can guarantee they'll probably last you a lifetime. But at $30, Fox River. That's what I get. Get your Fox River socks. They're amazing. So get you those. That's pretty much it on the socks. So, in conclusion, to kind of sum up everything, we're going to be doing a lot of ruck marches. A lot of ruck marches, a lot of bullshit. So I really want you guys to pay attention to what you're doing with your feet. Like I said, from starting in the day, in the morning, to going out on a ruck march, you should be pretty good at getting a regimented like thing. So remember, you're gonna get up in the morning. You're gonna have lotion already on your feet from last night that should have like wiped off with the sheets and everything else and absorbed into your skin. You can also put socks on over the lotion to kind of keep it from, just like some of your athletic socks, to keep it from like rubbing all over the sheets and staying on your skin. And that should be moisturized. They won't be slicking. They'll still be like, they feel like normal feet, like dry feet, but they'll be moisturized, so they'll be a lot better. You're then going to go up there, you're going to grab your alcohol pads, you're going to wipe down your foot, you're going to tape it in all the places that you normally get hot spots. You almost always get, unless you change your boot, your sock, or your insole combo, you'll probably have the same problem each and every time. So tape it in the areas you know are going to get messed up. Go. So remember that whole, tape, all right? And then once you get that done, rounded edges. And then once you get all that taped up and good to go, then you're going to put on your spray or your butt cream. Recommend the spray. It's easier, faster, and less messy. Once you get your spray on there, you're going to put your sock on. Again, Fox River Fatigue Fighter over the calf. I do not get paid by any of these people. That's what I recommend. Put that on there, and then you're going to take your boot, put your foot powder in there, shake it like a maraca, put your sock and boot combo on. Lace it up, lock the laces. So get that lace locker, like you said, from these. So you're going to lace up this really tight, get your foot seated in the back and your heel, and then you're going to lace up that locker. Make sure that's real seated, real good. Kind of shift it around, move it, make sure it's good to go, and then lace up the rest of the boot. Make sure that's tight and good to go, and then you're good to go. So once you've got all that good to go, you're ready to ruck. So as far as changing socks goes, whenever you get the chance, security hall, patrol base, whatever the hell it is, change your socks. Once you change your socks, you can also get extra insoles. So if you want to, I think the insoles are like $12 for the ones I recommended in the video. You could get like 4 or 5 pairs, or about 4 or 5 pairs, like 4 pairs, 2 for each boot. And so like you're on a long ruck march, if you want to, and change your socks out, you can change your insoles out real fast. and then throw some fresh powder in there, kick it in. It doesn't take long to do, and it saves your other pair of boots for in case you go through water or something like that to keep for a dry pair of boots. And also, most of the moisture is usually in the insole anyway. So you can pull out that wet insole, throw it down, throw in a dry insole, throw in your dry socks, and you'll pretty much be able to keep your foot from getting super wet. Again, when you change your socks, spray that deodorant on again. Shouldn't have to tape again. You can double check that your tape isn't fraying or starting to pull, but that's it. And then when you're done with your ruck, make sure that you're taking care of your feet, washing, cleaning. Make sure you're wearing shower shoes, because shower shoes are going to keep you from getting any fungus in your foot. On top of that, make sure you wash your feet. Don't just the drain water, the water like coming down on the soap. That doesn't like take your fucking scrubber, scrub your feet, get them nice and clean, get all that crap out of there. It's nasty in there, that boot. And then when you're done, take your insoles out of your boot and dry them separately. Don't dry them in the boot. So that'll also keep fungus from forming. And you can also even take and put a little bit of powder in your boot, shake it around while it's drying. And so that'll kind of absorb that extra moisture and kind of kill any funguses that are in there. And then you can just dry your insoles separately. So just put them out of the boot to the side, throw a little powder in them, shake them, and let them dry. I know it sounds like a lot, but I'm going to say it takes a few seconds, and it'll save your life as far as your feet goes, because once your feet get fucked up, it's almost impossible to fix it. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you've learned at least something that I can help you guys to be a little bit better prepared for the ruck marches ahead. A lot of the stuff isn't taught in basic training. You're wearing basic training socks, you're wearing basic training boots, and nobody tells you any damn thing other than when you get fucked up and then they tell you you're an idiot. So hopefully, especially for you new guys, that you figured out something that you didn't know before. Anyway, thank you, and enjoy.